Okay, everyone, welcome to the People Speak Out. It's 12 noon. I'm going to start the call. We don't have many people on, and to be honest, I didn't feel that many people would actually come on this week because the weather forecast is so good. It's a bit overcast here where I am, but I know in places like London, I think there's a heat wave, isn't there, coming this week, starting in London and working its way across the country. So good to see you. And I did also think maybe we should take a break for the summer with these calls. And I haven't discussed it with Sass, but anyway, here we are. And yeah, so it's good to be here and good to talk. So as always, if you would like to come on and share whatever's going on in your world or any views you have on what's unfolding, as I've said on previous calls, I'm actually online and on social media and on platforms less and less and less. I'm really finding myself so out of touch with what is unfolding in the world and feeling so much better for it, I have to say. Another thing I just wanted to mention is it was interesting on the last call, which Sass hosted. I actually had to go. I had to take a friend to the train station, and and they wanted to go into Sainsbury's. Hence why I was in Sainsbury's last time. I know it seemed a little bit bonkers, but it was quite interesting to watch it back. And because the signal is not great inside superstores, and if you've experienced that, the signal is not great inside big supermarkets. And it was like my words were kind of slurring, and I was just like watched it back and like, oh my goodness, people may be thinking, like, what's wrong with Rachel? And Sass is like, what are you doing in Sainsbury's? So I just want to assure you that I am completely compos mentis. I have the all clear from my MRI scan that everything has healed for me. My bleeds on the brain. And I've done a lot of shamanic healing and being in nature and really focused on my health since Easter and just making and restoring my health, because to me, everything can be healed. And it's just about restoring that sacred geometry. And I was under a lot of stress and anxiety from everything that had gone on in my life. So it's almost like my body said, it's like there's a great book by Dr. Gabor Mate, When the Body Says No. The body can just say, no, we're just going to close things down so that you focus on taking time out and focusing on your health. So it's been a really interesting few months. Anyhow, so I just wanted to speak a few words of reassurance on that front, that I'm feeling actually more motivated and more focused than probably at any time in my life, because it's almost like I've been given my life back with this lifting of this all clear. It's kind of like, oh my goodness, I have maybe a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades to live. And yeah, so it kind of is really interesting how it changes your outlook on life, because before I was thinking, oh my God, will I wake up tomorrow morning? So I had a very short horizon in terms of looking forward, thinking, it may only be like days that I have to live. It's that mindset. Then that opening back up to thinking, oh my goodness. So, thank you, God, that I've been granted, who knows how long any of us has got, to be honest. But it's really interesting to have that open back into the possibility of living, maybe another 10, 20, 30, 40 years, who knows. So it's really opened up my horizon, shall we say. So it's been a really interesting process to go through. Anyhow, enough of me chatting on. I'm going to come to James, who's got his hand up. And if anyone else wants to come on the call, please put your hand up. It may be that if not many people want to speak, as we don't have many on today, and as I said, it's probably because of the weather forecast, It's as we're getting into the summer, who wants to, to be necessarily online if you can be out in the garden or in nature on the beach? But I'm happy to host today. So let's come over to James and and David's put his hand up. So let's come to you first. James, how are you doing?
Oh, okay, thank you very much, Rachel. Yeah, we're I'm sure all glad that you're still with us. And as I might have commented on one of your YouTube videos there, you've obviously got a reason for hanging about down here on this wonderful Earth plane. uh, he says a bit of a joke. Yeah, I am trying, like yourself, to concentrate mostly on the positive news, the good news, and I haven't watched mainstream news for I don't know 25 years probably anyway. I knew it was all rubbish in the first place because all you get is repeat thing. Who's been
Yeah.
killed and this, that, and the other, bad news. Never any good news. So anyway, I stopped watching that about 25 years back. Best to avoid it, and most of what they say never happens anyway. It's all to keep you in fear, etc. Oh, we're going to be at war. Oh, no, we're not going to be at bloody war. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Conscription. Oh, don't be ridiculous. So many things they've said over a period of time just
Yes.
that's just absolute nonsense. Never going to happen. And it's all just to wind us up, I think. Could keep us in fear, keep the vibration low.
Yes.
But
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, anyway, the new world, new Earth is coming, and I've got something I'm going to share in the chat in a second. There's you've probably heard of him, Lee Carroll, who channels Cryon.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
yeah, he's hosting an event to do with the what they call the Indigo Children, and of course
Mm.
the Indigo Children. He wrote the original book, and he was the first one to put that name Indigo out there. And the Indigo Children, as it were, the first or the early wave that he first spoke about, are now about 25 years old. So
Mm.
they've all grown up, and lots of them now are living up to their title, as it were, or you can call them whatever you like. They're awakened souls, lots of them, and they're
Yes.
innovators, lots of new ideas, lots of things coming up. Anyway, he's hosting 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of August a conference where lots of these former Indigo children, now Indigo adults, will be actually doing presentations and talking. It's a lot to look forward to, and some of Brian channeling as well. So there's lots of positives in there, and it's all lots of good news. And even Lee Carroll as a person says, he's obviously well, channeling Cryon. He's obviously awake to the fact that the world is full of nonsense and that you should ignore most of it. So he's a positive person himself.
Mm.
I don't know if I've got much else to share, really. Most of the things I've watched in recent times are like bits of astrology and bits of channeling from different people. And loads of things are heading towards something, a real big shift next month, tomorrow onwards. Good news.
Oh,
Yeah, July.
what's happening tomorrow? Oh, with first of July.
Yeah, from next month, sometime during next month, there's lots astrologically speaking, but
Yes.
also lots of the channels are saying the same thing. That there's going to be a lot of things exposed and broken down. They've been saying that for a long while, but
Yes.
this is a big culmination. This is really a big shift from next month onwards, and if I don't know if anybody's noticed things like Florida banning mRNA vaccines and saying, basically literally coming out and saying they're bioweapons.
Wow.
The things like that happening. I just saw one earlier today. I posted about Japan banning vaccines for children. These, the ones that
Yes.
are causing autism, things like that. So
Yeah.
they're banning their schedule. So I mean, the world is waking up.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
pos- that's the positive news. So I'll share the Cryon info in the chat, and when it gets posted up on YouTube or Odyssey, I'll post it all there as well. Anyway,
Thanks,
I thought I'd
James.
just come on and say, yeah, I haven't been on for a few sessions because I didn't want to listen to too much negative stuff that some people share. Rightly so in one way, but there we are. I'm trying to stay higher.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's interesting because you're mentioning about Lee Carroll, because I listen to Pam Gregory a lot, and she's got her kind of ear to the ground, hasn't she, with the whole consciousness movement. And what she was saying on a recent call was that one focused person who's focused on creating the vision for the future we do want of an awakening consciousness of love, basically, that one focused person is equivalent to 100,000 asleep people, if you get my drift. So there's enough people who are focused, have got focused intention of manifesting the future we do want, which completely outweigh the asleep masses, so to speak. And so it's like reaching that critical mass where suddenly everything just like the dimensions open kind of thing. So that would explain why this constant feeding of fear and the almost desperation of these stories to create the fear that we're all going to be blown up in Third World War or whatever, and the fear of the pandemics. And it's just like they're just trying to throw so much at it, and it just doesn't stick anymore. And you're absolutely right about the Indigo Children, because all 5 of my boys, I would probably say fit into that category, because they're all young men now, and they're all so awake and aware and open to metaphysical principles and what lies beyond the veil. And it's just, it's incredible, fantastic. This new wave of young men and women coming through. So I do hold a lot of hope, because I agree. I don't think that there is any chance of this conscription nonsense. I just don't think that just going to say, what? No, sorry, not doing it. So it all ends when the people say no, basically. And I just don't think that they would be able to convince our young children to go to war. Now, they have been training them with, lots of hands up now, so that's great. But they have been training our young people on like Call of Duty and all these war games online. And I'm convinced that any of my sons could probably be given a weapon and go out and shoot with it, I hate to say that, but it does feel like they have actually been training our young, especially our young men. They've been training them for war for decades with all of these gaming things. But I don't think that necessarily means they would be able to translate that into reality, into really going and being cannon fodder, basically.
No, they're too awake. They can see that's a game.
The
other thing's too real.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, James. Thanks for opening up that line of conversation. So let's come to David, who's on a train. Then we'll come to Val and Eileen and Jade. Thank you for all for your hands up. It's always good to see lots of hands up. So I know that we've got, lots of interesting contributions. So, David.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay?
Yes. Hi.
Oh, good. I'm on a coach, actually.
Oh, you're on a coach, right?
I'm on the M25.
Oh, the M25, right?
Yes.
Where are you headed to?
To London. Heading to London for a few days, catch up with my family.
Nice.
And yes, Eileen, on the screen. Who's my mum? So basically, I wanted to just briefly talk about this Glastonbury so-called festival. Now, I know there's been a lot of attention in the media, things that were said on stage by certain singers, people I've never actually heard of, but they're really famous. And there's like a quote about hateful language that on stage and starting up crowds and stuff. But what came to mind really, I don't really want to focus on that. For me, it's all theatre anyway. Is that for me? It's all kind of divided all really.
You are breaking up a bit, David. Sorry, you are breaking up a little bit. But
That's okay.
keep going.
What I'll do is I'll put the message in the chat. Yeah, I'll put a message in the chat instead because I know the Wi-Fi is a bit weak here.
Yes, I did hear something. I was listening to Radio 2 yesterday on a Sunday afternoon. They did say something. There was something about Glastonbury and some band was I forget actually what the detail. I was only half listening in the background, but they did put it out yesterday on Radio 2. So if anyone, or if you can post that, or if anyone can post or come on and say what that was all about. I was only just vaguely aware of it, you know. But yeah, David, you were slightly breaking up. I think maybe your signal is not great there, wherever you are. But let's come to Val.
Sorry, it's not a great signal. Apologies for that.
No worries. Okay, Val, let's come to you. Hi, Val.
Hi. Hello, hi. Yeah, there were a number of things actually. Interestingly enough, thank you, David. Yeah, we were down in Yeovil this last week, and we did get to the stand in the park that David recommended. So thank you for that. Yeah, what was partly interesting, referring back to what David was saying about Glastonbury. When we stayed in Yeovil, we actually visited a friend who lived in Street, and it was quite interesting how she said the whole of Glastonbury goes into lockdown, or rather, her hibernation, perhaps is a better word, when the festival's on. So it was interesting to kind of get a perspective of somebody who lived there.
Yes.
And I think things have changed quite a lot for me and my husband, certainly since Beltane, in that I'm certainly having trouble with I can't cope with crowds, so I wouldn't dream of going to Glastonbury Festival. Even Glastonbury Town felt just too much this time.
Yeah.
Something shifted quite a lot, and neither of us really want to listen much to music and stuff we used to love. We both used to love rock music. We don't want to listen to that anymore. I'm more drawn to live music and sort of music like Tibetan bowls and medieval singing and stuff that feels more authentic somehow.
Well, the sacred geometry is more harmonic resonance, really.
Absolutely. I think without even realizing it, I'm being drawn to that. But actually, I was also going to refer. I did mention it some time ago, but I'm pretty sure I had a brain bleed as well back in February, and
Yeah.
and I didn't go to hospital. I got my husband to help me, and I had about an hour of being in a dreadful state and thinking I was having a stroke at the time.
Okay.
But both he and I have done Reiki for many, many years, and so he gave me Reiki, and I did at the same time. And I had a kind of a little bit of a near-death experience where I was in a place where there was lots of doors and there was a light in front of me, and I was going. What was really interesting is that I was no, I don't want to leave. I'm not ready. I've got things to do.
Yes.
Kind of very interesting, actually. that suddenly came to me, and I had this real grief that I didn't want to leave, particularly my husband, because I felt like we still had work to do, you know. So, but after I recovered from that, I was just so grateful to still be here. Like, I'm still here, thank God, you know. And also for several nights afterwards, I was quite nervous because I thought, am I going to wake up? But I didn't tell anyone because I had this feeling that if I'd had a stroke, then everybody, all my family, particularly the jabbed ones, would go into overdrive and tell me I had to go to hospital and doctors and all the rest of it. And I thought, you know, that would change my life completely. You'd get a label then, you know. So I didn't tell anyone, particularly at least at the time, and
Yes.
pretty much fully recovered now. I don't think, apart from having difficulty remembering names and things occasionally, I think I'm pretty much recovered. But it was a pretty important seminal moment, if you like.
Yes.
So I can really understand how you feel differently afterwards, you know. But I think also I feel like things energetically have keep on changing and getting more extreme in a positive way. I'm feeling less and less. I do go on social media, but I'm limiting the time. But a lot of the things I used to love doing, I still enjoy them, but they're not quite the same anymore. I used to love films and theatre, and it's just not drawing me anymore. And I think it's
Mm,
because I'm seeing the propaganda in it and the lies and the planning and coercion.
yeah.
I think I'm seeing the bullshit more, and also I'm getting more attuned to what is authentic, whether that's people or something I watch or music, as I said earlier. So that's all changing in a good way, and I'm
Mm,
craving being out in nature as well. We're going out and
yes.
grounding every day, feet on the grass.
Yeah.
And where we were staying when we were away was on a farm, so all the only sounds were sheep and horses and dogs, nothing else hardly at all, and that all felt really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel in some ways I'm getting more hermit-like, but I feel like I'm kind of drawing closer to perhaps what I'm meant to be doing. And as reference to what James was saying earlier, I really do feel like. I feel optimistic about the future because I keep seeing young people, particularly on social media, kind of doing amazing things, inventing things, and
Mm,
being fantastic musicians.
yeah.
And I've got people around me going, "Oh, it's all doom and gloom," and I'm going, "No, no, I
Mm,
don't see it like that at all." So yeah, I'm kind of excited and a little bit nervous about the future, but excited and positive. Yeah.
yeah. Good. Wonderful, Val. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah, the thing about the bleeds on the brain is actually quite a common thing, and most people just think it's a bad headache or a migraine. Yeah, and but you are absolutely right because it's very easy for people to kind of then put a label on you. Oh, she's obviously brain damaged, or she's obviously got issues, and blah 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 blah. And I felt it was important for me to share what happened, what was going on for me, and I was having to share it with my clients because there were certain days where and I was that my clients were so flexible at that time. I was really grateful to them to sort of hold the space for me, so to speak. But I can see yes, I can see what you mean about keeping quiet about something like that because it's so people just so want to put judgment and labels on things and people and put you in a little box. And that whole sort of mental illness box, that covers a lot. That can cover a lot of sins, so to speak. And
Yeah.
and that's a big tool of the system as well to section you because you're mentally unstable or whatever. So it's a really
Well,
interesting one. These invisible, what should we call them? Invisible um, uh, things where you can't. It's like you can't see it's not like you cut your arm and oh, I'm bleeding. So they're
yeah.
invisible sort of afflictions, shall we say?
Well, I think my family have always thought I was a bit weird anyway, so I didn't want to give them any more fuel to light the fire, so to speak.
Well,
But yeah,
it's like who's to say that all those people in the false matrix queuing up for their jabs aren't the ones who are slightly, you know, lost the
I think
plot.
so. I agree. I think so. Yeah. So,
Okay, so thanks, Val. Let's come
pleasure.
to Eileen next, and then Jade's got her hand up. And anyone else who wants to speak, put your hand up because it sort of dictates how long I give people and how long I talk for as well. So, hi, Eileen.
Good morning, and lovely
Hi.
to hear what you're saying. I'm so pleased that you're well, and it's so positive because your mission's not over. And Katie Hopkins is similar to that. She's had, I don't know if you know much about her, but